Hi, how are ya? It's Travston here, and welcome back to our adventures in Diablo 4 Season 1. Last episode, we got to level 84, and today we are going to continue leveling up in Nightmare Dungeons. And we will start today's episode with Ancient Reservoir. Dungeon affixes physical damage, empowered elites, monster bleeding damage, monster life, and monster vulnerable resist. Alright, here we go. Interested to see what mob type is in this dungeon. I haven't done it in quite a while. Hopefully we have an elixir for it. I think we only have demon slaying and I believe it's called human slaying or man slaying.
I'm not ready.
Alright, so it looks like we are dealing with undead. Let's see if we have one. Doesn't look like we do. I guess we'll just use manslaying for now.
Need more time.
Had a couple of demons here, actually. Just seen those now. I wish I seen them a little earlier. Looks like it's mostly skeletons, so it's like a mix of skeletons and demons.
I'm not ready yet.
And I've recently got some comments saying that I should give up. But I'm not going to. They kind of agree with, I guess, what I was saying about the game.
More time.
But supposedly a lot of people say, like from what I've watched, that Uber Lilith is a lot of fun. So before I decide to like make a decision about the game, I want to fight Uber Lilith, at least.
Need more time.
So we're going to keep going to 100. But I do think it's a little repetitive. Like the leveling process, it could be a lot shorter. Like we probably should be 100 by now, I think. Because it kind of just feels like I'm doing Nightmare Dungeons over and over again. That is what I'm doing. I know like we can like mix it up and maybe do some Hell Tides. But I kind of consider that really the same thing, right? Just running around slaying mobs. It's mostly what this game's all about.
Need more time.
So if we're going to be doing that, might as well do it while we're getting, you know, the most XP and the best chance for loot, which is in Nightmare Dungeons at the moment. I just wish they had, like, more Nightmare Dungeons. that we could do. It's a larger pool. The thing is, we can do a new one. Pretty much it seems like every 10 dungeons, and then we started like noticing we get the same stuff. I hope I haven't sounded too negative about the game.
I need more time.
It is probably a drag to like watch a person that, you know, I don't know, like I enjoy playing, but I just wish we were just at the part that I want to experience right now, which is just the end game. Which we are kind of there. It's just we're not level 100.
I'm not ready yet.
Let's put that down. A lot of demons at the end here.
I need more time. I need more time.
I didn't go down. One thing I love about this build, like once they come up, they get instantly trapped and CC'd.
I'm not ready yet. Time.
And then there's another ARPG that I heard about. Supposedly going to be pretty good. I don't know if it's like fully released. But I heard of Last Epoch. Supposedly that's going to be a popular ARPG to play. It's good that Blizzard is getting a lot of competition with, you know, PoE and then some new ARPGs that are coming out, like Last Epoch. They kind of are in like an arms race right now with those two games. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I really do think this, I've said this a bunch of times, but I really do think this game's going to be a lot better in 2024. Well, I just think there's just going to be a lot more to look forward to. I think the leveling grind will be reduced by quite a bit. They already got rid of Renown, so... Well, they're getting rid of Renown Season 2. I think the next step is just to reduce the amount of XP it takes to get to endgame. I think Season 2 will still have a decent grind. Probably more than 40 hours. But I have a feeling like as seasons go on, like probably see it down to like
I can't carry anymore.
20 to 30 hours. That was sort of how long it took me to complete the campaign. It took me around like 25 to 30 hours. I'm gonna pick up these boots, and then we'll head back. See what we got. But I know what I'm saying. It does sound like a lot of copium. That's for sure. But, you know, it's kind of how I feel right now. It's like a sunk cost fallacy. Just, once you invest so much time into a game, you kind of just hope it's good. And honestly, or you hope it's going to be good. Down the road. I think it will, because I didn't like Diablo 3 that much when it first came out.
You can still use these.
And then later on, I really started to enjoy it. That's too bad. It's got a better aspect, but it's a lower item power, so do not think we will be using it. We got another set of Penitent Greaves. Let's check out these boots. Oh, don't really want the aspect or the stats.
I can break that down. There's that.
Yeah, 3 got pretty good over time. Like I know people don't like really like 3, but I enjoyed it. Once we started getting like, you know, greater riffs, I actually started to enjoy like playing the game, especially on hardcore. And hardcore wasn't that bad on oh wow, we got the shadow step aspect here. Really low roll though. It's like the lowest you can get. So we'll probably get rid of those two. Yeah, hardcore wasn't that bad on Diablo 3 because once you lost your character, you could pretty much just lost your set, like your gear set, and your stash still stayed. So you would have a backup set, and then like a friend or somebody online could, you know, power level you up again, and then you're right back in the end game mix, you know, doing riffs again. And you didn't lose your Paragon either. So it didn't hurt that much as it does in this game, which is kind of why I've avoided hardcore in this game. I just think it's way too devastating if you die. But there's probably ways around it to where you're tough to kill. I guess we'll do Lost Key. We haven't done this dungeon in quite a while. Dungeon affixes Thorns, Avenger, Monster Shadow Damage, Monster Poison Resist, and Potion Breakers. Yeah, this game did have power leveling, though. People were power leveling at the beginning of Diablo 4. That's why they added the level caps for each world tier. That's why World Tier 4, I think, is capped at 75. I think World Tier 3 is capped at 55. Like the mobs outside the world. They did something else, too. They, lowered the XP that you get if you're like in a group and like somebody in the group is like a higher level than the mobs. I think you lose like 10% XP each level you are higher than the mobs. I'm not too sure how much that stacks up, but I think it stacks up to at least 50%. And then I think they made it to a point where it just seems better for the person just level solo than actually like, you know, get a carry. Not too sure what I think about that. Like, carries were kind of cool, man. But I guess since the leveling experience was such a big part of the release, they felt like they had to, you know, stop that.
Need more time.
I honestly didn't really mind power leveling in Diablo 3. The only thing I didn't like about 3 was the botters. That was pretty much it. People would just bot Paragon. But they did a good job recently. They capped Paragon, which was smart. There's like really no reason to bot unless like you really don't have time to, you know, level up your character all the way.
Need more time.
Or if you need like materials and gold, which I don't think really is that too hard to obtain.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they choose as the ladder system. I know it's not going to be Nightmare Dungeons. They confirmed that. I don't think it'll be Nephilim Rifts either. Even though I wouldn't mind that, because like I honestly enjoyed that part of Diablo 3.
Need more time.
Probably be something different, I think. They might as well experiment, right?
Need more time.
I don't know if they can afford to miss, though, on, on an experiment. Maybe they should just go with something that is proven to somewhat work. I know not everybody enjoys greater rifts. So there's obviously going to be people that will get upset if they choose to do that. Okay. Let's head over here.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, guys, I want to finish the Rogue and the Druid. We're gonna make sure we get it done.
Ready.
And then at the end, I can feel like, you know, I actually played the game. I'm one of those people who feel like they can't really judge the game unless they've at least beat the last boss, or like if I don't think you have to like 100% clear everything and get all the achievements, but I do think you need to at least get your character to max level, and like experience like a decent amount of the end game before you can, you know, like really have like a thorough, you know, review of the game. I know a lot of people just eventually just gave up on it, and that's fair. Many of my friends have given up. I don't see them on anymore. It's too bad.
I'm not ready.
One of them got to 100, though. They got to like 10 people.
Yes.
One got to 100. I'm still trying to make my way there. I just hope I have enough time. I think I do. Should have enough time to slay Uber Will. It depends how many days it'll take us to beat her. Maybe it'll just take one day. We are playing on softcore, so we kind of just go in and experiment and not have to worry too much. And it also depends on how lucky we get with loot drops. I think we'll probably need a couple more upgrades before we can handle Uber Lilith.
Need more time.
And I'm also not a person who believes, like, oh, you have to beat the game to have an opinion about it. I don't really believe that. Like, you can have an opinion about a game after you play, like, 10 minutes of a game. You know what I mean? It's just, your opinions about the, you know, the very early game and what you thought of it. Right now, I believe, like, I can have a decent opinion about the game, but I don't really know what the true end game's like, and I just want to experience it. The sad thing about today is you can just watch a video and someone will tell you about it. So I already know what people expect. Like, supposedly it's like, it's not that hard. People are saying, if depending on the build you use, like Uber Lilith, but we'll see. Could be tough for me. I had quite the challenge. Not on this character, I didn't really have much of a challenge with the capstone bosses, but on my druid, it was tough, man. Those bosses were hard. I was playing a pretty scuffed version of Shred Druid. Didn't do a lot of damage. And I had complete wars with those bosses. On the Rogue, we completely deleted the capstone bosses. I also went there early on my Druid, like 10 levels early. On the Rogue, I was a little bit more patient and went when we were like only 5 levels below capstone boss level. I honestly think we could have went earlier. There really isn't a point in going earlier, I don't think, because, like, you know, you're not getting that much of an XP increase by going to the next world tier. If you're, like, you know, 5 or 10 levels below. You're really just making World Tier 4 much harder for yourself. Because they'll all be, I think, like, what, level 55, so you're kind of down, like, level 55 in World Tier 3, and then 75, I believe, in World Tier 4. So, you'd be, like, 15 levels below the mobs. Which means, like, you're already getting, like, you're 5 levels above the max XP you can get, which is 10 levels above. You know, you can get, like, 15% extra XP for 10 levels above. Might be a mistake in there. Looks like our loot is full.
Need more time.
Is that just a sacred? Yeah, so we can just keep going. Let me just start ignoring sacred rares.
Need more time.
We're doing alright on materials. Okay, well, let's deposit the Animus into the urn
Need more time.
and head into the boss room. I really hope Last Epoch's like an awesome game. I haven't really looked into it. But if you got like 3 ARPGs competing with each other, that means you're gonna have some. You'll eventually have like an amazing ARPG, I believe, in like a few years after they've they've all done their like experiments and found out like what the player base wants.
I can't carry it more.
Because I assume they're all experimenting in some way or another. Because you have to stay ahead, right? You have to innovate the genre if you want to stay ahead. And then eventually, you know, games like Blizzard will copy from it, or another company will. But I think most of the player base tends to remember where it came from. I wouldn't know though. I honestly would not know what they've taken from PoE. One thing I believe they took was this style of Paragon board. I think this is kind of like a PoE style. Never played PoE, but I've seen what their Paragon boards, not Paragon boards, but like their, I don't know, leveling boards look like. And it looks somewhat like that. I think obviously the Diablo one's probably, you know, much more basic.
I can break that down.
Right? Because that is kind of what Diablo wants to cater to is just like more of like the casual, I wouldn't say casual, but like your average player, I guess. Well, I always thought like PoE was just a little bit more like, you know, hardcore. More of a learning curve, you could say.
There's that.
And at Last Epoch, I don't know what direction it's going in. I might look into that game. Alright, well, we don't want that aspect. Get rid of those sacred legendary boots. And we don't want this aspect either, even though it's perfect. Could hold on to it, I guess. We'll hold on to it. Why not? Are we ever going to use like a barrage build, though, in this series? Probably not. So we'll just get rid of it. We'll probably run into another aspect like that eventually. Our stash is getting a little bit full. So we should probably start getting rid of
Still use these.
perfect aspects that we probably won't use anytime soon.
There's that.
Alright, so did we get any upgrades, guys? It's not looking too good at the moment.
I can break that down.
Alright. Well, there we go. We didn't get any loot today. What? You know, we got a Paragon point and we're almost halfway to 85. But that is going to be the end of today's episode, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Keep your heads up. Later.